Hi, my name is Sarah Noble and this is my mum, Jenny Noble, and we're going to talk about our journey living with mucolipidosis. So we're going to ask each other some questions, aren't we?
Yes.
And we'll answer them as best as we can. So, Mum, when did you first notice something was wrong, and what did you do?
Well, obviously Hayden was 6 years old and you were 2 when you were diagnosed. But I guess living with a rare disease or not knowing at the time that you have a rare disease, it's very difficult to pinpoint, I guess, what was going on. I mean, Hayden, when he first learnt to sit, had a curvature in his spine, and everybody kept saying he's young, that's normal, he'll be fine. And then when he started to walk, he was walking with his feet almost facing out sideways.
Yeah.
And I remember the orthopaedic surgeon again saying, he's very young, his bones and joints are floppy and they'll come right. And they did over time. And so we still, at 4 years of age, couldn't pinpoint really that there was something going on. But hindsight is a wonderful thing because he had a barrel chest. He had curled little fingers. And because he was our first child, we had nothing to compare him to.
Yeah.
But by the time he was 5 years old, we started to realise that he wasn't keeping up with his peers. So he wasn't climbing and running and doing some of the things that other children were doing. And from there, we found ourselves sitting in front of our GP outlining some of these problems, and 24 hours later, we were in front of a paediatrician.
So that was Hayden. What about me?
Well, you were still really tiny. You were a baby, and I guess, again, hindsight, you had curled little fingers. You didn't walk until you were 22 months old, but there was nothing glaringly obvious like there was with Hayden.
So what was it like when we were first diagnosed? How did you feel?
I guess diagnosis was the worst time in our life, but with Hayden, it was a relief for somebody to actually tell us there was something wrong with this child. As I said, 24 hours of seeing the GP and then being in front of the paediatrician and outlining what was going on with Hayden, like his learning difficulties, his not being able to write his name and do some of the things that other kids were doing.
So how were we diagnosed?
So through bloods and urines, Hayden first, and they were sent to Adelaide because in New Zealand, way back then, genetic screening was not something that was done here. So it was, so Hayden's urines and bloods were sent to Adelaide Lysosomal Research Centre.
Yeah.
Anyway, it came back and he was positive.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you automatically think, well, I've got 2 other children. What about them?
Yeah.
And so bloods and urines were done for you and David and sent to Adelaide. and David's came back negative, but yours was inconclusive. So by that time, you were taken into the hospital and a biopsy was taken.
Yeah.
And I remember the geneticist came up from Dunedin Hospital and collected the sample and physically got on a plane and took it to Adelaide.
God, can't do it these days.
No. But I think in my heart of hearts, I already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already knew that you had ML.
Yeah.
And so Hayden was diagnosed on the 6th of November 1987, and you were diagnosed, your diagnosis came through in January 1988.
Yeah.
I remember the paediatrician ringing your father and saying, you need to come in. And I remember saying, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, pretty devastating.
Yeah. And it would be for a parent.
Me?
I know, crying on camera.
I know.
So, any questions for me?
Well, gosh, you and Hayden have lived with this disease for so long. I mean,
36 years.
mm-hmm.
36 years. It has been a struggle. Quite frankly, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy because it's such a... I don't know what the right word is to describe it. It sucks, really. Sucks big time. And especially when you have to go through lots of surgeries and live with pain most of your life. And taking lots of drugs which don't work. So, yeah, it's pretty tough. And it's pretty tough watching my parents watch me go through it as well. So, yeah, that's pretty tough. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. You know, I remember after diagnosis just like, I don't know, sitting in a black hole, not knowing how to get out or even what the implications were of this disease and how it was going to affect our lives, you know.
Especially when there's no cure or treatment.
Yeah. And we sat in that black hole for 2 years. And then one day, Hayden was going to have spinal surgery. And I kind of felt like what the doctors were telling us was, it didn't ring true. And I remember saying to Paul, I don't think we should do this. I think we should start talking to people and start trying to find people so that we could find a better way for Hayden and for you for the future.
Yeah.
And so began our journey 36 years ago of trying to find the right answers and to find what was going to be the best thing to do for you kids.
Yeah.
You know, and mucolipidosis is incredibly rare, incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
There are no therapies currently. You know, and we're working towards that.
Yeah. And that's a good thing.
It is.
Especially when you've worked your ass off all these years.
Well, we are so close to finding a cure for children with ML. I mean, I strongly believe that no child should be left behind, no disease should be left behind, no matter how rare. And mucolipidosis for so many years has just always been put on the back burner.
Yeah.
But it's time. It's time to find a cure.
Mm. And my one wish in life is, and it may not happen for me, but my one wish is for future generations that come behind me have a cure. And that is my one wish before I leave this earth, or whatever you want to call it. But that's my one wish, is to have a cure for future generations that come behind me.
Yeah. And I guess, from our hearts, we just really want to see people get behind cure mucolipidosis as they work towards developing a therapy. It is paramount that we don't let any more children die from this dreadful disease.
Like my brother.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Join the battle. Yeah. Join the cause. Please support us.
Yeah.
Please help us find a therapy by donating, by sharing our fundraising activities. It really does take a lot of people to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.